Okay. I am not going. Well, first of all, what's up, y'all? Um, I'm not gonna drag this out any longer, considering the title of this video. So I'm gonna start off this likely lengthy video off with confirming that yes, I unfortunately have been diagnosed with papillary thyroid cancer, literally 6 months after I lost my soulmate and my husband, Chris Lou. Like when I think about it, like when I say that shit out loud like that, it's almost like if I was a viewer, if I wasn't me and I'm a viewer, I would be like, is this like some kind of fake story time shit? Like this is the shit that I would see in movies. This is not real. Unfortunately, I wish that was lying. I wish that was lying. But yeah, I don't have a structure for this video. I have specific intentions on what I want to talk about, but not a structure like how I originally planned. So today, well, the day that I am going to release this video is marks officially half a year, 6 months after I lost my husband and my soulmate, Chris. That never gets any easier to say, but the original plan was for me to, to honor Chris, and I'm still going to be doing that in this video. It's just it comes with extra baggage that not only not want for myself, but not want to like share even more sad news with y'all. But I was going to make a 6 month video to be like how life has been, what I have learned in my forever grief journey, because I have learned a lot. Y'all who watched my first video when I had initially spoke about Chris's passing and what happened, I would assume that y'all would see a specific difference with me then versus now. I bring that up because I would hope that the difference in my aura might be some bit of proof of, it's like, I don't want to say the word progress. Actually, no, I do want to say the word progress. The reason why I don't want to say that first is because I don't want the word progress to be mistaken as, oh, Thina's getting better or she's back to normal. Because from what I have learned so far in 6 months of this suffocating grief is that there is no getting better. There's just maneuvering with this scar, this soul deep, heart deep scar that I will forever live with, however long I live. But with that being said, it's like right when I feel like, okay, I am maneuvering. I'm learning how to maneuver. I'm developing tools through cognitive behavioral therapy and just soul searching, and it's a lot of stuff I've actually been looking into. Stuff that y'all might not be like too interested in, like matrix destiny charts, astrocartography, this and that. But it's like right when I get to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start eating healthy. I'm gonna get movement in. Like I don't want to allow myself to crumble. Like I want to. Chris has always been proud of me, and I want to continue making him proud of me. I know he's proud regardless. I just want to continue to keep doing that. So it's like right when I get there, boom, I am diagnosed with papillary thyroid cancer. So how about I just talk about that first? I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna talk about how this even came about, what I know so far as of now, and then I will talk about how grief and life as a fairly young widow, losing my soulmate and the love of my life has been, and what content creation is going to be and so forth. Whatever comes to mind. I'm really treating this like as if I'm meeting y'all over coffee and just updating y'all. And I'll be uploading this both on Patreon and YouTube because both of y'all are fam. So timeline. So after Chris passed away, I had to downgrade my health insurance because when Chris was here, he was helping me pay half for everything. And me, I don't get paid on YouTube. I've said that so many times. I still get very lovely comments like, "Oh, you just hyping videos or hyping K-pop because you get paid." It's like, fucking where? Because it's not here. Where was I going with that? Oh, about downgrading insurance. So, after I downgraded from PPO to HMO, and y'all who know about insurance knows that when you're on HMO, you are assigned a doctor, physician in network. You can't choose one. So I went to see the physician that is in network with the cheaper insurance that I have now. And it's actually a blessing, a major blessing, because I'm actually I'm closer to this new physician that I'm with versus my other one. My other one, there was nothing bad about her, but she was like, just did things that she was supposed to do versus the new physician. She's very caring. I almost sent her like a friend, just because of how caring she is and attentive. So, I met with her in July because I had upcoming appointments with my specialists. And with HMO, you have to get a referral. So, I had to see my new physician, not only to be able to get a referral from her, but, just to connect with her, like, so she can know all about me, to know what kind of a patient I am with all the bullshit health history I have. And as I'm meeting with her, she's looking at my neck. And, because when we talk, we swallow, we gulp, whatever. And she takes a look at my neck and she's like, asking me if I'm interested in getting an ultrasound for my thyroid. And she was like, it could be nothing, but I would like to be clear, if you're interested. And I was like, sure, why not? 'Cause I've never got my thyroid checked. And, and I just thought, if my insurance covers it, sure. Like, what's the bad in that? I mean, I still had to pay a pretty pocket out of my wallet for that, but better than the whole thing. Insurance did help. But anyway, so I did the ultrasound of my thyroid as well as seeing a cardiologist for the first time. The only time I've ever seen a cardiologist was while I was an inpatient at the hospital doing chemo and dialysis. I almost said dialysis. That's weird. So I saw a cardiologist to do a carotid ultrasound to check on the DVT that I have, deep vein thrombosis. And I also did an echocardiogram to check on my arrhythmia because I do have a heart murmur where there's like a hole in my heart. I'm still waiting for results for that, but the results for the ultrasound came back that they found 3 nodules and 2 were labeled as highly suspicious. And with that follows a biopsy. So before the biopsy, I had asked my physician, what are the likely chances that any of the nodules are malignant. And she said, I'm not going to sugarcoat things with you because from what I'm seeing in the ultrasound, there's like a gradient. And she used medical terms that definitely didn't stick to me for me to tell y'all. But she said that, of course she can't confirm anything with the biopsy, but in her line of work, that 60% likely it was malignant, which is cancer. And so I did a biopsy on my thyroid as I don't know if y'all can see sorry, hopefully I don't have to do a trigger warning or anything, but y'all see that dot right there. No, it's not I wish it was a hickey given to me at Chris because that would mean that he's alive and here and we're good, but no, it's not. It's from 5 long fine needle thingies to be stuck to my neck. So that was literally yesterday, and I get a call this morning. So I think that really confirms that, yeah, they definitely, the shit lit up for them to be like, yeah, you have cancer. So when I got the call this morning, like I had, put on a little bit of makeup, had my hair recently done by my girl Kiana, and I was gonna tell y'all about my grief and whatnot. I get the call and I'm told that I have thyroid cancer. So my physician, she actually was like, she sounded really sad as she started the call, but very quickly had found my strength admirable, or my reaction admirable, because I think she was kind of prepared for me to crumble. And because after she told me, I was like, okay, so what kind of thyroid cancer, and what's the next steps, what's the possibility of this and that, or is that a question for my cancer doctor, this and that. And I did contact specific people in my life, because and this is like, with all due respect, this is not trying to say that I'm selective on anyone in my life, but there's the obvious family and the obvious friends in my life that I would prefer that they find out through me instead of through a post or a video. What I've said to them, and I'll say it here, and this is just my own personal perspective, my own personal feelings. Me being told that I have thyroid cancer and everything else I'm about to say, losing Chris is still significantly worse for me. Absolutely, by a long shot. And that, again, is with all due respect, because I've lost people in my life to cancer. So this is not to generalize a statement. This is just my own personal fuckery of what I'm going through. Losing my husband 6 months ago, and then now being diagnosed with thyroid cancer. My pain for losing Chris is still significantly worse. So I think that's why I'm kind of like that. Plus, y'all who have been tuned in, I don't know if this is your first video that you're checking out my channel, or if you don't even know who I am and this is like just first of everything. I've been through a lot with my lupus. I've been through a lot with my health in general and life. So maybe like that, and along with the way I still choose to honor Chris and speak his name and keep him alive, per se, on the surface, by speaking his name into existence. I think that's proof that I have some kind of strength somewhere. So either that, or I'm in some kind of shock stage, losing my husband, and then boom, I get cancer 6 months later. I don't know what it is, but with the way I'm feeling, I'm not trying to jinx anything, because I still have my lovely dog Atari, but I feel like I will get through this. And I'm no doctor to confirm that, obviously. And okay, so let's continue on with what has to happen after this. So I am currently waiting to get a call from MD Anderson Cancer Center. I have to get with the cancer doctor to do further examination and whatnot, to see what level or stage that the thyroid cancer is at, and to see if it has metastasized, like meaning if it grew anywhere else, or if it's just within my thyroid. So if it's just within my thyroid, then did I say that weird, thyroid? If it's just within there, then I do surgery to remove it, and that's that. I mean, not that's that, because surgery to remove anything, that just still sounds just blah, but still, that's that. However, if it has metastasized, and I think also depending on the stage or the level of the thyroid cancer, the treatment's a little bit more complicated, where radiation may be involved, or chemo. We'll see. And I think the trick. So I have to say that the papillary, from what I've been told, papillary thyroid cancer is very treatable. I was told that it has a 98% success rate. However, my physician was like, with that being said, do not let anyone in your life tell you that you have the good cancer. And when she told me that, I was like, do people actually say that? And she said, you'd be surprised at how many patients I have who have thyroid cancer and beat it. Had people in their lives say, "Oh, don't worry about it. Don't cry. Oh, that's fine. You have the good cancer." She was like, "You can't put the word good and cancer together." And I absolutely agree. I've lost too many people in my life to cancer, whether it's lung cancer, skin cancer, brain tumor. And I have people who I care about who lost loved ones to cancer. So I will never, you won't catch me putting the words good and cancer together ever. So I'm glad she said that, because that's what I'm going to look out for. Because throughout my grief, which I will further detail when I get to the grief section of this video, I've been told some ridiculous shit that I'm like, do y'all even hear what y'all are saying to me? So I am prepared if anyone is going to tell me, oh, you have the good cancer, or I'll just be like, you want to say it again? Like, and then if they say it, I'll be like, you want to say it again? So, but it does relax me, or it's good to hear that it is treatable and 98% success rate. The only tricky part is my lupus being triggered. So long story short, because 2015, 2016 was like the worst years for my lupus. I was on the brink of kidney failure, and I was doing aggressive treatment like chemo, dialysis, IVIG. Wait, I forgot what that was, but IVIG, if y'all are familiar. Plasma exchange, well, that's dialysis. A lot of stuff to save my kidneys. So in the process, I had major lupus complications where I almost died 3 times. And that's why I have these 3 butterflies to represent those 3 times, butterfly for lupus, and flying to my middle finger be like, F you lupus. So I think that's the tricky part as far as having thyroid cancer and doing what I need to do to get to it. So if it has metastasized and I have to do things like radiation or chemo or whatever, my lupus will very likely be triggered. Like shit, when I get COVID or have the flu, it's like tenfold. I almost said timesfold. Tenfold. Like when I had COVID the first time, like usually I see people who have COVID, like in my life, they're able to get over it in like several days, versus me, when I had COVID the first time, I had to go to the ER because my blood pressure going so high. So yeah, it is what it is. Like, I'm just sitting here waiting to hear from either my physician's office or from MD Anderson Cancer Center, so I can schedule an appointment with my cancer doctor. Hopefully my insurance takes, and that's a whole different damn story. Because before I found out about this diagnosis of cancer, I was, again, what I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I was learning how to maneuver, learning how to live this life that I was forced to live, which is a life without Chris. And I started to feel confident in figuring out the tools on how to do that. And me saying that I'm learning how to maneuver and learning how to figure out the tools doesn't mean, oh, I'm all better. I'm never going to be all better from losing Chris. I'm sad every day. I still cry every day. But I've recently, actually, I'll save this for my grief section. But yeah, as far as my health, as far as the way I'm feeling physically, I actually, like, besides the extra fatigue that I've been feeling lately, but I feel like grief adds on top of that. Grief and my moderately severe depression that I was also diagnosed with plays a lot with my fatigue and lupus itself. Lupus being the number one culprit. But other than that, I don't really have any symptoms as far as the thyroid cancer. So, yeah, like, again, when I literally think about it, I'm like, how the fuck is it that I lose the love of my life, my husband, my soulmate, the one who, like, Chris, he 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 really saved me from myself. I was my own worst enemy, and that's probably the most cliche phrase because I think a lot of people can relate to that. I struggled through a lot before I met Chris, and he would be the number one person to be like, don't give me all the credit. I was cheerleading you on the side. Everything was you. And he's even helped me learn to take credit for my own strength, you know. But I am also still going to give credit that I wouldn't have found my own strength and my own footing if it wasn't for meeting Chris and him saving my life and changing it too. You know, I'm gonna talk about this. It might be dark. If there's a worst case scenario in this situation with the cancer, I'm not scared of death. I I was before, but after losing Chris, I'm not. The thing that I am scared of is to face this without him. Because Chris was, he's literally the reason why I'm still here now. The 3 times that I almost died from lupus complications, if he wasn't here, I wouldn't be here. So, that's the hardest part. Just to think about having to do this without him, but I would do it for him. You know, like, and even part of me is like, I talk to Chris out loud every day. I don't care if that sounds crazy. You know, I tell him like, baby, are you orchestrating all this? Like, not the cancer itself, but like, are you making sure that all this happens so I can take care of it? You know, is this your way of still taking care of me from where you're at? So yeah, that would be the only thing that I am scared of when it comes to this cancer. But other than that, I'm playing the waiting game right now. Okay, since I'm in my fields right now, as y'all can tell by my hesitation, my clearing my throat, whatever signals that you can tell, let me just go ahead and shift onto my grief. Actually, you know, I was going to talk about a lot of things, like a lot of frustration actually, when it comes to what I have learned in my grief. But now, after getting the diagnosis of, you know, having thyroid cancer, that diagnosis edits my feelings for certain things I want to vent about. But I'll still talk about it. So, life has been really hard. Y'all who follow me, God, I wish I brought my tissue box. I feel my eyes and nose like about to like drip. Y'all who follow me know that I still post about Chris every day or every other day, or just that's all I talk about. It's been really tough. That's I don't even need to say that for y'all who have empathy in your brain would know that, of course, it's really tough. I think the first couple of months, I I was struggling a lot with blaming myself. And I think y'all who watched my first video y'all saw that I did struggle with blaming myself for what happened to Chris. And luckily with cognitive behavioral therapy, I have developed tools for me to understand that it wasn't my fault. Even if I could have done better, it doesn't change the fact that it wasn't my fault. My therapist, and she's also really awesome. One when I was at the height of like my grief, refusing to not believe that it was my fault, she had asked me a question that definitely shifted things. Like, I was told things, like, not just by her, but by people, like, hindsight's 2020, but that it couldn't pierce the level of grief and guilt that I had until my therapist asked me this. She said, let's say theoretically it was your fault, but that's not me saying that it is, because I absolutely am here to tell you that it's not. But theoretically speaking, for your grief's sake, let's say that it's your fault. Follow that up with a second question. The follow-up question is, did you intend to harm Chris? Did you intend for him to pass away? And that's where my guilt U-turned. Instead of going deeper and darker, that's where my grief is like, of course I didn't. Of course I didn't intend to harm Chris, to hurt Chris, for him to pass away. I always say that. I wish, it just sounds really selfish too, like, but I always say, like, I wish the universe took me instead of Chris. But I say that it's selfish because it's like Chris already suffered through what he did, with pneumonia and sepsis. So how could I sit here and say that I wished the universe took me instead? Because I can vouch for this level of pain and this level of grief. So why would I wish that on him? So, yeah, but since that question, and since I've been working with her, I've not only learned to realize that it's not my fault, to realize that his passing is not for me to carry as far as my responsibility. Although understandable, because I love Chris and he's my soulmate, he's my husband. I understand that it's not my fault. Other things I've learned with cognitive behavioral therapy and doing just my own soul searching and what I need to do to maneuver is that the world is not it's not structured for something like grief. And me understanding that more and more doesn't mean, or it doesn't excuse like some of the dumb shit that people say sometimes, even though good intended. It does help me pull back from exploding, unless there's certain comments that I get that deserves a bit of an explosion from me. Comments like I've been told, or I've been asked, would you, like, if you knew that Chris is gonna die, like, would you have changed your mind about having children? It's like, what the fuck does that have anything to do with this? Like, how can y'all go, like, disrespect Chris and I's personal choice of being a child-free couple? Like, what does that have anything to do with Chris's passing? Again, like, that things like that deserve an explosion. But things like people giving platitudes and not knowing how to deal with people that deals and lives with this kind of permanent grief, I deserve to not explode on that. And I say that because, like, when I explode, it takes a lot out of me. And I'm already going through a lot with maneuvering this permanent grief, losing Chris. So this world, I have learned to understand that this world, we are structured to survive, like, for daily survival. And that usually requires our intellect, to pay bills, to have food, to, I don't know, have this mic on, to have this camera, to pay for my phone bill, whatever. Like, we are structured for daily survival, which requires our intellect. So when it comes to something like grief, this is kind of crazy. I was told that statistically, like, this is not always the case, but statistically, we will all lose someone in our life, like a close one in our life, every 9 to 12 years. And the reason why I say that's crazy is because the last huge loss in my life was 9 years ago. Like prior to Chris. So, with that being said, this specific immense level of grief is not felt every day. And when it comes to grief, intellect is thrown out the window because there's no answer to this. The whole 5 stages of grief, and I'm guilty for using that. I've used that before in the past when I lost my grandma, when I lost my uncle, when I go through my own shit. Like I would say, oh, I'm just going through the 5 stages of grief. I've learned that there's no stages of grief. Like there's a 5-stage cycle, but there's not stages where you get to the end and you're like, hurrah, like I've survived these stages. Like it's like right when you get to stage number 5, oh, you go through that cycle again. It's a vicious cycle. So the world it's not structured for people to understand that intellect goes out the window when grief is not only entered into our lives, but here. It's stuck. It's here. It's not going anywhere. It's here to stay. And I don't want my grief to go anywhere. I want it to be here. And I'll go into why. So yeah, me learning to differentiate, our intellect for our daily survival, and grief having nothing to do with intellect, but everything to do with feeling your emotions in order for you to handle the waves of it. That's what helped me learn how to maneuver, learn to be like, okay, what kind of tools should I focus on? And even like when I face people who tell me specific platitudes that, with all due respect, it doesn't help at all. The tools are here to help me to just be like, it's okay. Don't let that get to you. Just stay focused on staying afloat in these waves of grief. It'll be up and down forever, for as long as you're here, until what I personally choose, until I reunite with Chris again. I keep pointing because, my handsome man's right here. This is actually from when I did a video turning my man into a K-pop idol. And y'all who watch my videos know that I used to have all the idols. So I just felt this was appropriate. So yeah, why I want my grief to stay. And this has been shared a lot, and I heard it a lot through the actor Andrew Garfield, of all people. But what he said really stuck with me. Like, he spoke a lot about his grief when he lost his mom, and how he said how he doesn't want his grief to go anywhere. He wants it to stay here because it's just proof that your love still goes on. And that's very true. Like, there will be some days throughout these 6 months that have passed by after Chris passed away where I don't cry. Like, there are some days I think my body just needs a reset. It needs a break. Kind of like, girl, you're crying so much. You need one day where you hydrate and then you cry again. And when there are the days I don't cry, I'm kind of like, in the beginning, I was kind of worried. I was like, this doesn't mean that I don't love Chris anymore. That like my grief almost felt like, girl, you need to cry. But it's like, yeah, you do need to cry. Like, when you feel these emotions, when you feel it bottled up, let it out. But when there's nothing bottled up, take that moment to breathe. Take that moment to go watch a movie. Take that moment to cuddle Atari, cuddle my dog. Like, because the waves of grief is going to be up and down for the rest of my life. So when you have that moment where you can breathe, when you're not crying, cherish it, because grief is going to come right back. And work on your strength of preparing yourself for it when it comes. I still got a lot more to go when it as far as learning how to maneuver my grief. And there are days that I definitely have a mental flare up where I'm like, well, what if I had brought Chris earlier? Or what if I just forced him to get the flu shot? Or, I have moments where I'm told, or my mind tells me, you could have done this, you could have done that. Like, I have those moments. But with that being said, I have learned so far how to face those moments instead of letting it completely consume me like I did the first couple of months after Chris passed away. So, yeah. Another thing that I actually decided And it actually applies even more now that I got this unfortunate diagnosis of cancer. I was contemplating for months about still going on the intended trip to celebrate Chris and I's wedding celebration, which was actually in his. I always forget that it's September now. It's this month. We are going to go towards the end of the month to celebrate our marriage with our family and friends and close ones. And obviously that wedding celebration is canceled. However, after contemplating for a long time, my grief decided to take the trip. It's definitely more of a grief journey trip. I am taking Atari, our dog, because one of Chris's biggest dreams was to have Atari go to Hawaii so she can have memories of our favorite place, our soul home in her life. So not only do I have extreme separation anxiety from Atari right now, I do want to fulfill Chris's one of Chris's biggest dreams, although he can't be here physically to fulfill it. So yeah, and my parents are going with me. They don't want me to go alone, and I am extremely fortunate for that. And I actually ended up paying for their ticket. Although they're like, "No, don't do that. They deserve it too." I'd be so much worse off if my parents didn't live with me. My house is separated to where I have my own, little loft style place, and there's a main house, and they moved into the main house. So they deserve it. They've felt my wrath of my grief. They see me cry every day. They struggle themselves with keeping it together while mourning every day the loss of their son-in-law. So they deserve it. So I initially decided on that trip just to commemorate what would have been the best times of our lives. But now, like, after being diagnosed with thyroid cancer, it's almost like, okay, you kind of need this break, Thina. You lost your husband 6 months ago. Now you find out you have cancer. So, go take this break. Like, do some more soul searching. Figure yourself out. Let this process. So, the few people in my life that I have told that I decided to go to Hawaii, they're very happy I decided to, because they see that as a sign of, like, not me getting better, because they know better than to tell me that I'm getting better, but they see that as a sign of me accepting the pockets of good moments in my life. And one thing that drives me crazy with my grief is, like, people who still tell me things like, Chris would want this with you, Chris would want that. It's like, I'm like, and Chris would agree with this. I am the person in this world who knows Chris the most. So who are you to tell me what Chris would want, But one thing that I will say that Chris would want is definitely for me to not blame myself. So I'm glad that I was able to U-turn out of that thought. But for me to take the chances when I can enjoy my life, although so this is really hard for me to say, because it's just hard for me to say, but because finding out that I lost my husband 6 months ago and I find I have cancer now, life could still be worse. And that's hard for me to say because of how shitty I feel every day. But again, it could be worse. I could not have parents who support me. I could not have a support system from my family and friends. I could not have Atari. I could not have y'all, like, who listen to me and still send me, like, wonderful messages of support. Like, I could not have that. So life could be worse. So I think me acknowledging that my life fucking sucks, but also life could be worse, both can coexist. And my grief has my my progress in learning how to maneuver my grief has came to where I know certain things can coexist. So yeah, I will be taking a trip that's actually going to be 2 weeks from now. And I already talk to my physician that if it's safe for me to, because I had decided on this going on this trip 2 weeks before I found out I have cancer. And she said it's absolutely fine. It's just when I get back to, handle this. I keep pointing because it's thyroid cancer. To handle this matter, like don't let time pass for it to metastasize. So yeah. As far as content creation, I was returning back on Patreon. And I was, getting there, like getting updated with Twice, getting updated with, and I finally got to Cat's Eye, which I love Cat's Eye. Getting updated with Blackpink, Le Sserafim, and I'm like about to go on to AT, Stray Kids, J-Hope, a lot of things I need to get to. And then after I met with the physician, my new physician in July, things just like had to take an automatic halt because everything that I've talked about so far in this video, it's a lot. It's a lot to process. I can't be told, oh, you have a concerning looking neck. You're going to have to get an ultrasound. And I hear, okay, thanks. All right, y'all. And I get to, like, I'm just not capable of that. I'm still even just maneuvering every day my grief of having to live this suck ass life without Chris. So, but with that being said, I'm not saying that I'm quitting. I don't think I can quit, especially with having cancer now and likely having to go back to PPO, which I can't afford. Because like I said at the beginning of the video, Chris was helping me pay half for everything. So not only will I, at my pace, continue making stuff on Patreon, but I will open a GoFundMe account. And in the beginning, like as far as like my lupus, I never opened a GoFundMe. I think the first one I ever opened was after Chris and I lost everything to Hurricane Harvey in 2017. But when I was going through all my lupus and all that stuff in 2015, 2016, I didn't think about opening one because I think I felt kind of like, what if people judge me for it? Versus now I'm kind of like, you know what? Judgers can judge. It's not within my interest to give an ounce of a breath. Does that even make sense? You don't measure breath by ounce. I don't want to give a millisecond to any haters or judgers or whatever. That's y'all's problem. It's not mine. So I'm opening a GoFundMe because I do need the help. It's been a struggle financially too, but I don't like to vent too much about that because we all go through financial struggles. Just living without Chris, who was helping me with half of everything, it's been a struggle. And now finding out that I have this cancer diagnosis it's going to be a lot more. And I would also like to take some of the ease off of my parents, like, because of course they will always be here and do everything they can, but they work so hard. They came here after surviving a war in their own homeland, worked so hard with their business, and they deserve to retire. And that's what Chris and I were working on. We were working on my parents being able to finally live an easier life an easier life in general. Their life has been hard since 1975. That's not when they were born. That's when the Cambodian genocide happened. So that's why I'm going to create a GoFundMe, because I do need the help. I've learned enough as a human and in life that there's no shame in asking for help when you need it. I'm not making a GoFundMe to, I don't know, fund a new luxury car. I'm making a GoFundMe to simply survive. And with all the health complications I have and now cancer on top of it, I would assume it's understandable. But if it's not, and if If it's something to judge, you can do it on your own. I'm not going to give any ounce to it. I keep saying that. I'm not going to give any millisecond of my time to it. So, I'm trying to think, did I talk about everything that I wanted to talk about? I actually want to talk a lot more about my grief, like, just a lot more. But again, after getting this fresh diagnosis of cancer, a lot of how I felt about the topics that I want to talk about has changed. I might make another video, like maybe later on in the future or down the line, whatever, about it. But as of now, I think I will end this video off here by saying, by unfortunately sharing with y'all that I am diagnosed with papillary thyroid cancer 6 months after losing Chris. And, but I would do what I need to do. Another thing I wanted to actually talk about, before I end this video. So, I have sat for several weeks knowing that with the possibility of having cancer or not, and keeping it from people in my life until I got the actual diagnosis, which is today, as I'm filming. I was on FaceTime with family, and one of my little family members going to pre-K for the first time, and seeing her excitement, telling me about her first day, seeing everyone, like my family, their reactions, and just our interactions and stuff. During that FaceTime, that's when I had the epiphany, and it's a really hard one. It's a good one, but it's also really hard. That's when I had the epiphany that okay, every day when I wake up, I have Chris's urn next to me, and I wake up and I say, good morning, baby. Another day without you, but another day closer to you. And as dark as that sounds, hearing another day closer to you always was comforting to me, because I miss Chris so much. And with the way I choose to believe, I look forward to seeing him again. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, how I've been looking a lot into matrix, destiny, charts, astrocartography, spirituality. I do choose to believe that we're more than our physical bodies. That's all I'm going to say for now. If y'all are interested in more of that, I will make more videos, but I'm not going to go deep in the sauce with that just yet. But so when I had that epiphany during the FaceTime call with my family, it's when I realized that I have something to fight for to stay here. I'm not done making memories with my family yet. And if that means that, it's hard for me to say, because that means I have to accept that it'll be even longer for me to see Chris again. But if I have to accept that it'll be that much longer for me to see Chris again, then I can do it, because I'm not ready to leave my family. I'm not done making memories in my life yet. As y'all can tell, that's a really hard epiphany for me to accept. And it's hard for me to even say that it's hard to accept, because I don't want my family to feel like that they don't matter to me. I don't want my friends to feel like they don't matter to me. I don't want my support system to feel like y'all don't matter to me. It's just, accepting even longer time away from Chris it's hard. It's a hard concept to accept, but because of that epiphany, I'm willing to. And I do truly believe that Chris and I are soulmates. So, with that being said, I know that he's not going anywhere, and I will eventually get there. I'm just not ready yet. So, yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. I've made it through 50 minutes without bawling. I have a trembly voice right now and shit, but at least I made it through 50 minutes without bawling and actually need to get out of this room to get tissues and shit, but okay. Yeah, I do miss K-pop. I'm gonna say that. I miss K-pop. I miss the excitement. I miss Twice. I miss Stray Kids. I miss the excitement that I would get when they would have a comeback, when how much their music would impact me, how much their dances, their choreography would like shake me, like I miss that life. And although the happiest XTHINA that ever survived can never be back because that will require Chris being back, I can find the contentment side in me. And that's another thing. Okay, I'm gonna say this before I really end the video. It drives me insane when people still try to question or try to tell me that it's too soon for me to say that, Chris is my final chapter, that he's my end game, that even if I live to like fucking 100 years old, Chris is still it for me. Because people are like, oh, no, that's too soon for you to say. It's like, the only thing I can say is you would need your own Chris to get it. Chris, as I mentioned in this video, he saved my life. He saved me from the previous me. He helped me. And when I say the previous me, I mean the me that was running away from who I truly am to fit society norms. Nothing wrong with fitting society norms. Nothing wrong with that. It's just not for me. That's not who I truly am. So he helped me walk back to myself. He helped me accept myself. He helped me not think that I had to be a certain weight and a certain size for me to accept myself. He helped me just find the strength in myself to the point to know where to recognize where it is in me, even while he's not here. Or what I like to call while he's in ninja form. Like Chris is here with me, just I can't see him. Okay. I think that's all I have to say for now. If y'all made it through this 53 minutes now as I'm talking. If you made it through 53 minutes of me sharing everything, I really, really appreciate y'all for listening to me. And I will have the GoFundMe link for anyone who would like to help me out throughout this new diagnosis of thyroid cancer on top of my lupus, in my description box, and I will also pin it in the comments. And if y'all would like to share this video, I would really appreciate it. My reaction videos here on YouTube, it's not monetizable. I can't monetize it because of copyright claim. Videos like this, I can make monetize it. What the fuck am I trying to say? So I do appreciate y'all who watch this, y'all who share it, because not only am I talking about like my life, but I am also hopefully bringing awareness to grief, to people who live with lupus, to people who get diagnosis of thyroid cancer, to being extremely tested by the universe, but trying to figure out how to pass it before the next test comes. So yeah. All right, y'all. Again, thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. Y'all who would like to share this video or GoFundMe link, thank you even more for that. I'm just trying to figure out how to process. And even this trip to Hawaii that's coming up, that's going to be really tough too, because y'all who follow my stuff know that it was Chris and I's favorite place. And according to Chris and I's astrocartography maps, it's our soul home. So it's going to be really hard to be there without him. But part of me almost wonders if I will feel a sense of him there. But I am excited to go give my parents a vacation and bring Atari to discover beautiful waters and sand for the first time. And to just give myself a break before I come back to a whole new battle that I have no idea what it's going to be about. But I'm here to be about it. Okay. Closing off.